Hey, look. Oh, dear. It's time for Bring It In. But the first person here is Michelle Shane, who emailed me that I need a better background. She's been emailing me suggestions, and I have not taken action as advised. But we're here. It's Friday. A little announcement. We will not have Bring It In next week because we'll be on vacation. But there'll be some things happening. Jarod and David and Adena will watch some games with you in the evening because it's exciting, and we'll tell you more about that later. And Adena's back. Adena's been through heaven and hell.
I certainly have. Heaven was, I took a little bit of a break. I went to Martha's Vineyard, had my first lobster rolls, my first time. So it was pretty dope. I went to the black part of Martha's Vineyard too. Yes. Yes, black beaches. And then I had no power for 3 days because you have to have balance in life. And that's what it was about. But no hot water. So happy to be back. I'm happy to be cleansed and see your guys' faces again. So
What was the best moment of the vacation?
The best moment of the vacation was me and my homegirls were just chilling on the beach, and this guy walked up and was like, just in case y'all need it, gave us a whole bottle of rosé and a water bottle full of tequila. I was suspect about the water bottle full of tequila because I was like, that's been opened, I don't know. But the rosé was closed. And then we met another girl on the beach and talked to her. She had a date that night. And being that, like, I'm 3 years married, I was like, oh my God, how are you doing this? What's happening? Tell me, where'd you meet him? So that was the best part of the trip. Free rosé and like bothering a girl about her.
That's such a good, like, just in case y'all need it with the rosé is like a brilliant.
And like,
the just in case part wasn't really needed because who doesn't ever need it, right?
Yes. And the thing is, like, he didn't want anything from us. I was like, oh, he gonna sit and talk to us. No, he was just like, here you go, and walked away.
Acts of random kindness. Nothing beats that.
So brilliant.
Shout out to Martha's Vineyard for their acts of random kindness. So I got some, and it's also, Judy wrote in the chat, my birthday's on Saturday, so really happy to share the day before.
Leo.
Well, it's my KD year. I'll be 35. Not ashamed to say that. So.
Exactly. Seems young to me.
Yeah. I still got some hot shit to share with you. I'm about to share my screen right now. Make sure I share the sound. All right. Want to start out with as a lifelong Knicks fan, I saw this circular on the internet and I had to check myself. I was like, wait, do I have to apologize to Carmelo Anthony? And no, I don't. I was never one of those people with calculators or being upset at Carmelo on the Knicks and that we have to get rid of him because it's the only way we can get better. Thank you, Melo, for balling out these last 2 games. And anyone who needs this, I can print you a PDF. Send it to you, and you can mail it to. I know his business manager. You can mail it, and I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Or you can just fill it out on social, right, and tag him. Melo, he had that dagger against the Grizz for 15 points. I think it was on Monday, and then he recently shut us up again. Well, shut them up, not me. I guess. And
probably me.
Yeah, shut them up. And I mean, just 2 games make a career, no, but like, he definitely doesn't deserve the bashing that he's got. And now I believe they're like 1.5 games out of the playoffs still, and so that's
half. Only a half now.
Only a half now.
Yeah.
Listen. I haven't had power. I'm loving it. Is this the time where Melo like gets out of the second round, or he actually goes deep in the playoffs like we needed an asterisk bubble year? Listen, if it took an act of God to get Melo further in the playoffs, I will take it in that sense. So shout out to my man's Melo. Then. Next up, once Damien Lillard was like, he finds it funny how disrespectful people are to Melo. Sorry. Wait, get that away. He's a Hall of Famer. I was actually looking, and I think he moved up to like the 19th spot in all-time scoring in the NBA. And I was like, everybody so above him was a Hall of Famer. I was like, yeah. So let's give him his flowers while he can still smell them. Not that Melo's dying like anytime, but you know what I'm saying. Next up, so J. Cole. This is where, sports and culture meet, and I'm always a fan of it. J. Cole, I'm a dreamer. I love Dreamville. J. Cole announced that he's looking to make a play to make an NBA team. And at first I was like, oh, this is cool. He's 35. I'm 35. It's never over. No, it's over, J. Cole. And really what it was is Master P gassed him up and was like, I think you can do it, young dog. And because when Master P gasses you up, listen. That's what you take it. And Master P has made a team. He's made 2 teams, the Toronto Raptors and the Charlotte Hornets. I think it was in 98, 99, but it was preseason. Let's talk about it. I mean, if I make a preseason team, I'm still gonna say I'm an NBA player, so I'll take that. But so he gave him advice and was like, you can make it, young dog, and I want you guys to, you know, see J. Cole, I guess, just doing some spot up. He goes on to make some from the top of the key also. And 2012, J. Cole actually played in the NBA celebrity game. Here was his highlight, an oop from Kevin Hart.
One-on-one, yes. Any type of movement, it becomes a problem. Movement is over with. Oh, we just saw him dunk.
J. Cole rising up on the alley-oop feed from Kevin Hart.
Listen, all right. I saw the face, coach. I was like, I was really just waiting for coach to be like, get this shit out of here.
That was good.
The thing about it is, like, so I have a whole theory, because that's what TrueHoop, we're here for, conspiracies, right?
Okay.
So all this news came out probably in the last like 2 weeks, right? J. Cole is signed to Puma. They recently just came out with a J. Cole shoe, like his signature shoe. Kuzma was wearing on the court. I want to say Booker also. They literally wore them for one game and didn't wear them again. So I think that shows you like how good the shoe actually is. And it was for promotional reasons. So J. Cole has a shoe. NBA players wear his shoe. J. Cole does a little viral stunt, goes to a North Carolina mall, is signing his shoes in Foot Locker and buying them for families, right? So, oh, look how virtuous of him. And then we get these videos of J. Cole in the gym, and the person who's shooting the videos is Chris Brickley, Mr. Lifetime Fitness, Mr. NBA Black Ops Hoops. Chris Brickley is the Puma coach. He's a coach signed by Puma. I was like, this thread just keeps going. And actually, J. Cole's participated in some of his Black Ops runs before. So really, I'm just saying this whole thing is a scam by Puma to actually get us to pay attention to his shoes. I'm still not buying them, but thanks, Puma.
Adena, let me just say this. I have some pro players in our gym here, and one really likes his Pumas. I normally don't know stuff like this, but because he was telling the other guys, like, hey, what's that? And he said, they're actually really comfortable. Yes, their low tops they're nice, but we train pretty hard. He likes them very much. I'll find out what they are when I see him tonight.
Yeah, good looks, especially if they're low tops. Like that's really interesting.
Yeah, the lows are great.
Yeah, the Detroit Pistons actually, they made a jersey, and they're like, "Yo, J. Cole, we're ready to have a tryout with you." Like this is going way too far, but let's see.
Henry, we're connected to Cole. I mean, adjacent.
Amin.
You know that, right?
He's Amin's cousin or something, right?
Amin's cousin Proof is Cole's manager.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's right. Amin actually tweeted when I was going through my conspiracy theory. He was like, to be fair, Brickley wasn't training J. Cole.
Right.
He was training him like last year. But the fact that like Brickley shot this video, I was like, I can't assume that you were actually like in a gym with J. Cole and didn't like give him tips. Thanks.
It's a cold world right now.
Molly, what do you? I don't know where.
This next clip.
One quick funny thing though, they're commentating on the celebrity game, and I've been to these games. I know what it's like, and they're chit chatting, and suddenly he's like, "We have a dunk!" He was like super surprised, right?
He's somewhat athletic play, yeah.
Oh my God, celeb games.
News.
I feel like they pumped sound into celeb games probably, and this is where they got the practice from at times. This next clip is Brittany Griner. I'll let you guys watch it.
Phoenix needs Brittany Griner in the game is because of this. A phenomenal shot blocker. Hold the pose. That's when you're at basketball camp and you're teaching the little kids how to shoot. And you say,
loved how she held the follow through on a block.
But she blocked it with her elbow, just to be clear.
Did she? Let me see.
Oh, yeah. Look. Yeah, it's like a forearm. She really stuffed that.
Griner in the game is because of this. A phenomenal shot blocker.
Okay, it's all about the looks. Good.
Hold the pose. That's when you're at basketball camp and you're teaching the little kids how to shoot. And you say, hold the follow through. Now you're going to teach them on the block. Hold the follow through.
Sometimes she makes it so easy. You guys are going to talk about this later on in 9 for 90. Not going to give it away too much. But LeBron doing what LeBron does earlier in the week, the president, not our president, said that he will not be watching NBA basketball because of the kneeling and Black Lives Matter, and this is what LeBron had to say about it.
I really don't think the basketball community are sad about losing his viewership and him viewing the game. That's all I got to say. I'm not going to get into because I already know where this could go, where it could lead to for tomorrow for me. I'm not going to get into it, but I think our game is in a beautiful position, and we have fans all over the world. And our fans not only love the way we play the game, we try to give it back to them with our commitment to the game, but also respect, what else we try to bring to the game and acknowledging, what's right and what's wrong, and I hope everyone, no matter the race, no matter the color, no matter the size, would see what leadership that we have at the top in our country, and understand that November is right around the corner, and it's a big moment for us as Americans. If we continue to talk about we want better, we won't change. We have an opportunity to do that. So, but the game will go on without his eyes on it. I can sit here and speak for all of us that love the game of basketball. We could care less.
Well, I guess he has something to say after all.
Okay.
Well, something at the end there.
It's kind of like sometimes when my husband's like, I'm like, don't even get me started. And then there's 20 minutes after.
Right. Listen, I understand why he's reticent. I mean, come on now. This is the president of a pretty big, government with a big budget. Not as big as it used to be. Like, it's not so easy just to speak on the matter. I give him a lot of credit.
Well, I mean, LeBron's been on the other end of a Trump Twitter storm before. And I think that's really what I hate at this point in time. Is just like, you get on the other end of a Trump Twitter storm, then everyone's in your mentions or whatever. So I don't think he's necessarily afraid to say what he said, but he's just like, yo, I'm trying to focus on the bubble and basketball right now.
Trying to win this chip. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly, right? Trying to win this chip. I'll let you guys tap into that more, but shout out to LeBron for always being vocal.
All right.
Switching it up a little bit, we got to give shout outs to Queen Bee. This happened. It's shit to do with basketball, but it definitely has a lot to do with me. And before I lost the internet, thank you, because God is a benevolent God and he believes in Beyonce. Before I lost the internet, I got to watch Black is King twice within 24 hours. And listen, y'all, I'm gonna let y'all watch it and then give a little commentary. It's a little miniature.
Everything you see exists together in a delicate balance.
The king is you. You are the king.
Beat the drop.
Time to break it down now.
Remember who you are.
So this isn't just an average, like, oh, I'm watching 7 music videos together. No, this is an education on African history, like not just African American. It's like I was literally looking up the tribes that she was representing with, and I don't even call it symbolism, because symbolism means that like, oh, I kind of hid it in the background. And no, it's this mask from this Yoruba tribe, and you're gonna read about why they do this. So it was her music cloaked as African history. I actually can't wait till they come out with some book explaining it all. And then the biggest part for me, and I actually cried, she has one song called Brown Skin Girl, and she brings in Lupita Nyong'o, Naomi Campbell, Kelly Rowland, and women who have all been, at one point in time in their life, chastised because they have such dark skin, but welcome, not, I want to say welcome, but embraced and are special in the fashion community and music community because they have such dark skin. And just growing up and not seeing yourself in media, in whatever's beautiful, and seeing that, like, I watched it. I made Chad sit down and watch it, and I was like, this is what I went through when I cut all my hair off because it was all relaxed and dying because I wanted to be straight. Like, this is what I went through. And, you know, when my mom would make me get the dark skin doll and not the white doll, she actually like dragged me out of a store once because I refused to get the dark skin doll. So yeah, watch it, learn, live life. It's great. If you don't have Disney Plus, talk to me on the side. Maybe there's a password I have. And then finally,
wait, we still have outside? What are you talking about?
I know, right?
We still have outside?
It's Leo season, and Henry and I are both Leos, so exactly getting ready for Leo season.
This is the best.
Earlier, yeah, it was like waiting for the thing that was like, Leos, we hate attention, but please do call us on. And in true Leo fashion, I don't know what I'm doing for my birthday, but I'm gonna make everyone stop tomorrow to do things. And
can we talk about Rakesh for 1 second? Like, did he order this poster himself? Is that what happened? Or did his parents do this or something, right? Like,
he said to me, so I'm assuming, like, let's find Rakesh. I don't know what country this is in, but I was like, he's a whole mood.
He's in the poster place, like, here's my $80. I'm ready to go.
Exactly.
Okay,
like,
sir.
And just in true, this is, I want to say, 15-year-old Adena won the slam dunk contest at basketball camp. Don't ask how high the rim was. Yes. I know. Those are their kids too. Who knows where they are? They won too. That was, and then lastly, because we all know.
Where's that trophy?
Yeah, I don't know. I got to talk to my mom. I think it's in the basement. So this was basketball camp. I think SUNY Morrisville was a 5-star basketball camp. And you know what's happening right here? Adena got plucked out of the crowd because coach wanted to be like, this is how you box out. Adena, show them all. So I was like the demonstration for the day with my Allen Houston jersey on because, yes, you know, he's the definition of the perfect jump shot. And my bangs, I got little bangs over there. So Adena. Thank you so much, guys. And I miss you so much.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Adena.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like get a drink in Harlem, and I look forward to the rest of the show. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's see you soon.
I love it.
One of my favorite things is how happy Adena is in a boxing out photo.
Coach.
Channeling Dennis Rodman. Yeah.
Adena would have been your favorite player if you coached her.
I mean, I like people that can make jump shots. I'm not going to lie. So if she could shoot, you're not wrong. She would have been amongst my favorites. Off the court, probably my favorite for sure.
Yeah. Okay. We have such a busy show today. We're so much to cover. I should get right into Judy's got the 9x90 clock. Jarod, you are up first whenever you're ready.
So we have a podcast with Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier of the WNBA called Tea with A and Fee. Very cute. Love that alliteration there. And they had two-time MVP, two-time finals MVP, one-time league MVP, two-time champion Kevin Durant as a guest. And it was such an interesting conversation between the three of them because it was three ballers, right? Like three hoopers just talking. And there was some funny stuff. And like, you know, Kevin, who's going to be the first one to like break the bubble and sneak somebody in? And Kevin was like, I'll tell you about that off air. Can't say it on air. Like really funny stuff like that. But then what I thought was interesting is like when basketball people get together and talk basketball. And so Fee asked him, Kevin, like when I came in the league, and the hardest thing for me was like battling through stagger screens. And you could hear Kevin be like, oh man, I know what you're saying. Like, and the three of them were all just like, yeah. And Asia was like, oh man, you guys got to fight through them. And Kevin was like, forget that. I top lock when I see those things coming. I'm not messing around with that. He's like, I'm not trying to bang in there with anybody. And I thought it was really cool to just hear those two women in WNBA and Kevin Durant talk about basketball and their shared experiences. And it's the same thing. And I say all that to say the WNBA is wonderful. Watch it. It's basketball, right? Like they all go through the same types of experiences as the guys do. It's just hoop. And when you're good at hoop, it's awesome to see. So I really appreciated Asia and Kevin talking basketball.
A+.
Cool.
Oh, I dropped it.
All right. So in Georgia, I guess yesterday or last couple of days, someone took a picture. A young lady took a picture of the hallways at school where they're supposed to be wearing masks, although they're not being mandated. And the young lady got suspended, and I think she said that she's fine with that. Like this was a problem. Kids aren't complying. without even going into politics, as a parent whose kids are leaving next week, will be empty nesters, we did not take the approach to trust all adults. We took a different approach, which was fucking don't trust anybody. They've to earn your trust. Never assume anyone has your back ever, especially if they're an adult. I'd rather you trust your friends before you trust an adult. And it's just sad that nothing's changed. People who are my parents' age, my mother-in-law's age, they think that life was somehow better before. No, it's always been the case. Kids trusted adults then to their terrible, terrible, tragic consequences in some cases. It's sad that we haven't evolved at all as Americans anyway, and are thinking about our kids. We're trying to rush them back to school. Then we're suspending them when there's a sense of a whistleblower saying, hey, our school isn't safe because kids aren't wearing masks, and they're getting in trouble for it. And then, of course, schools are lying about, in this case, the superintendent said, we can't police it. And Bomani Jones wrote on Twitter, you damn sure make sure no one can smoke cigarettes anywhere on campus or off campus, but you can't make sure they wear a mask. So kids out there or parents out there, teach your kids to be responsible for themselves. Don't trust adults.
Adena showed us the good LeBron being more presidential than the president. I always loved this. A friend of mine who knows about politics was like, you win the debate, not by having the better point, but by being more presidential. Yeah. So I felt like his tone, like he kind of won. I hope he won. I hope it's perceived that way. I hope people see the whole clip, because I think it's dangerous to think that Donald Trump is just an idiot. He isn't. He's good at some stuff. And the thing he's best at is like standing at the front of a rally, he assesses which messages land, right? He's always trying different messages to see what's going to land. And he finds a few and he just hammers them and hammers them. So to me, what's going on here is he auditioned kneeling at the anthem, which, you know, audience wise doesn't really matter in the NBA, but super matters in the NFL, which is coming, right? So I think he's trying to see, like, do I have a campaign issue of hammering athletes for kneeling? And this is where I think it's a little field test. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But if it looks like it worked, if it looks like he rallied his base with this, then we're going to have a lot more of it come NFL time. But maybe LeBron's good at handling what matters. And who cares? To LeBron's point, I don't think he was watching anyway. Of course, we know who does care, right? If you watch this show, I believe the NBA owners are on a track to ask for a big federal bailout of the major sports leagues. And they will, I mean, if LeBron passes any prologue, then they won't be getting one so long as this is Donald Trump's take on this league. So I imagine there's some people who are like, LeBron, could you get down back?
Stuff.
Okay, so I want to talk about Michael Porter Jr. In the 4 games inside the NBA bubble, he's averaging 26 points, 10 rebounds on 57% shooting and 50% from 3, and that's on 7 threes per game. Now, we all knew that he could put the ball in the basket, and he was gifted as that. That's what he is advertised at in high school. That whole draft class that year, he was the guy. If you ask all those guys, Bagley and all of them, who was the best guy you played high school with? Michael Porter Jr. was the guy. And then he had the back injuries and all that. And, you know, we thought it may never happen for him. He skipped his whole rookie year to recover. He's getting playing time in the bubble now, and he's taking advantage of it. And I thought it was all interesting because it all came after the first bubble game, which he didn't play very well. And Mike Malone, Denver Nuggets coach, was very unhappy with his rebounding and defensive effort. And MPJ sent a text to his coach, Coach, don't give up on me. Please keep believing in me. I'll be better at this. I'll do these things. And Malone's like, of course I believe in you. You know, all the positive things that coaches say. And he's rewarded his coach's favor with him with the minutes, with actually playing really good effort-wise defensively and grabbing a ton of rebounds, as I just suggested. And if he is able to somehow manage to stay healthy, you know, Denver got a steal late in the first round. I mean, and this was a wonderful story. So happy to see Michael Porter Jr. playing well.
They've had a few when you consider Nurkic and Jokic. All right, so on the same subject, although it's a little bit different because Michael Porter Jr. was the number 1 player in his class when he came out. TJ Warren wasn't. And TJ Warren was a lottery pick. He was a high-level scorer out of NC State that really couldn't shoot and got to the NBA and really couldn't shoot. And he was on a terrible franchise in Phoenix. And everyone just knew he wasn't going to be any kind of shooter and he's going to be stuck on a bad team. And then he became a really good shooter on a really terrible team. And so then everyone just knew when he went to Indiana, he's not going to know how to play in big games because Phoenix never played in a big game. He's not going to be able to guard, and he just wasn't anything. But us at TrueHoop believed that he had a chance because he was going to get some life breathed into him, playing time, opportunity, responsibility for a franchise that values things like defense and values things like accountability. The Pacers do have that. And now T.J. Warren is leading the bubble in scoring. And I don't know that how much it'll last, not just through these next 4 games for them, because they're probably not going to – well, they're going to make the playoffs. I doubt they'll get past the first round. But Indiana's got a future baller on their hands and maybe a potential all-star. And we should all be reminded of this, not just in basketball, but in life as well. Stop branding people at any point in their life, certainly not in their first 25, 30 years. He's 26 years old. Players can grow, they can change, they can add skills, and they can get smarter. We have to believe in them, and then we have to breathe spirit into them and give them a chance to do it.
Yeehaw. Michael Mina was on our show. He's like a celebrity at this point. Like, the fact that we had him on the show is delightful to me. He was talking about the value of cheap immediate tests, not PCR COVID tests, but antigen tests that could conceivably be as cheap as $1 where you spit in a tube. And there are a lot of reasons he explained better than I could why that could be dramatically important in reducing the spread of the coronavirus. The story's kind of taken off, and he was hoping the federal government would step in to throw a bunch of money at this. 7 governors, I think on Tuesday, ordered 3.5 million tests, which is a giant step. And now the Rockefeller Foundation is ready to finance a bunch of these tests. And there's talk of the companies that provide them can't keep up with the volume of the orders, but there's talk of licensing the technology to other providers. So you could actually have only 2 companies have these special exemption where they can produce them. But there's a talk that we could actually have giant volume Michael Mina type tests pretty quickly. So that's Dana Smith right here. Look at this. This is straight from David Thorpe, by the way. David Thorpe brought Michael Mina to our attention and to Dana's attention, and she wrote about it yesterday. Big article in the New York Times about it today too. So this thing is building steam, and it could really be, in Malcolm Gladwell's point of view, like the best news technologically since the pandemic began. So pretty exciting to see.
Yes.
I have nothing to say, but something for you all to watch.
Oh. Ooh, okay. It's coming.
Moody, I like it.
It's coming. Processing. Processing.
Hold.
Oh no, why is it not playing?
It's thinking.
I'm happy to give up my time to make sure we get it. Wow. Judas and the Black Messiah. Come on. Has it been played? Want to try it again, Judy? Is that what you're going to do?
What I think we should do is, while I set that up, David, why don't you?
That's good. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes if you hit it with a hammer, I don't know.
What a great idea.
So my third thing is there's a young man named Patrick Christopher that designed this incredible T-shirt that LeBron wore before his last game. It was a TNT game. And I'm going to maybe get this wrong, but I think it was a stopwatch with the 8:46, the amount of time that the officer had his knee on Miss Floyd's neck. And then it glowed in the dark in the background. So I love the fact that LeBron is promoting this. That isn't new. Stephen Stout's book, The Tanning of America. There's always, hip hop's done an amazing job of forcing their culture on the world who was thirsty for it. Perfect combination. What I liked is Patrick, he said as soon as he hurt his knee, he played 4 games for the Jazz, and the millisecond he went down, his first thought was, well, I guess I'm a designer now. Like, he knew what was coming next for him. And again, as a father, as a coach, John Thompson is famous for talking about, he used to have a basketball behind him in his office at Georgetown that was flat. And he would talk to his recruits about, what are you going to do when the ball doesn't work for you anymore? And I was a young coach when I read that, and it's always been a conversation I have. Even now, I'm talking to one person in particular in the bubble, and he's watching games from a coaching perspective, which he might do one day. So we always have to think about the future. I love that this young man went from playing to being a designer. It's incredible.
All right, Judy, what do you want to do? Oh, here we go.
Try it again.
You're looking at 18 months for the stolen car, 5 years for impersonating a federal officer, or you can go home.
The Black Panthers are forming a rainbow coalition of oppressed brothers and sisters of every color.
Their aim is to sow hatred and inspire terror.
I will learn all that I can.
These ain't no terrorists.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
That's a trailer.
And that is a hell of a trailer.
Wow.
If you don't know the story of Fred Hampton, like, I mean, I don't know, like, read a book. Like, I just like learn. But like this movie, and we all know the ending and what happens. And I just said to Adena in the chat, I don't know if I can't wait to see the movie. I don't know how I'm going to hold up through the ending because of what happens in the end. But Fred Hampton was could have been one of the great, and he was in the short time he lived, died at 21, one of the great radical revolutionaries in the fight for equality for Black people and all marginalized groups, and was assassinated by the federal government, right? For all intents and purposes. And this story with Daniel Kaluuya playing Fred Hampton and Lakeith Stanfield playing William O'Neill, who infiltrated the Black Panther Party and basically turned, was conspiring with the government. It's going to be incredible. And to see that, just that, like this, the whole, I'm a revolutionary and just all of that was going on. I mean, that's going to be such a powerful film. And I hope everybody gets out there to see it.
When's it
out? Where?
2021, I believe it's going to be.
Okay,
out.
good.
Okay.
Let's hope that we can go to theaters again. Let's hope theaters are still operational. A lot of them are closing down.
I am so sorry to have to follow that.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about icing LeBron's ball. This is such a tone shift. All right. So this was July 23rd. This video, let's just watch it. Okay. You take the ice out of your privates. And just for a second, he looked to hand it to that guy. You see this? Watch his face. He's like, hey, oh, you want this? Oh, no? Okay. That's why you always should be folding shirts, people. Always be folding a shirt because someone might hand you the worst bag of ice of all time. So Christy Oshwindon, you can see here, I was like, well, what's your view on ice in that situation? Now that we know LeBron has an actual groin injury, this is actually a championship-affecting little video we realize now. And she says, ow, my balls. And she says, also, apparently, the Cold War is unwinnable. This is her book. She says, see chapter 4. I think I can do this. More and more people are beginning to question the magic of icing. Malaki McHugh is a director of research at the Nichols Institute of Sports Medicine, the athletic trauma in New York City. A sporty Irishman, McHugh plays Gaelic football, an Irish game often compared to rugby, and his team takes turns on the same playing field with the Manhattan College soccer team. One evening when the other team was finishing up, a group of soccer players were lowering themselves into trash cans filled with ice water as McHugh's team was taking the field. Seeing McHugh approach, they called out to him while pointing to the makeshift ice baths. Mal, you're the sports scientist. What's the deal with this? Does it work? His reply, you'd be better off putting your 6-pack of beer in there. It goes on, but basically, this is in-game icing. I don't know that you can find an expert left other than I spent some time with Gary Vitti, the Lakers' recently retired trainer, and he's like, if you think it works, then you get the placebo effect, and that's worthwhile. But there is not science to support the idea that this actually does anything. So it's just, if you're very macho, it's a difficult thing to do. It's a little painful. Or if in the immediate moment after an injury, it can help. But this mid-game long-term injury thing, like, it's for LeBron's brain. It's for his emotions. Like, that's what we're treating there, which is fine. We all do it. But anyway.
Did he go back in the game after that?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Because that you shouldn't do. Once you ice, you should be done.
Yeah.
Because you're contracting all those muscles and everything. I think you're causing more problems. I don't remember. I remember seeing it. I don't remember if he had played or not.
I would guess he didn't, but
yeah,
I mean, you're not following science, whether he goes back in or not. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And they got to do something without him, as I'm writing about this week a little bit. They have no shot.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to be he can't just be very good. Like Anthony Davis is not Giannis. Anthony Davis is every bit the most talented player in the world. It's just a position where he's not Giannis. He needs to be playing with another playmaker. And LeBron is the only guy they have. I mean, there's literally no one else that can do it.
David has awesome story coming out in the next hour. But you make an amazing point that, like, with LeBron not being exceptional, this is the Pelicans.
Yeah, I did write that.
Anthony Davis Pelicans, right?
Yeah. Basically, he's back. Anthony Davis, I watched them play last night, and that's what I thought of Henry. I thought that I was trying to read his brain. He's such a poker player. I love that about AD. But at one point, I just thought he was thinking, am I back in New Orleans? Like, what is going on? What the hell is happening? Although I will say, and I think I mentioned a sentence, I've liked what I saw. I've liked what I've seen from Kuzma.
Yeah.
In Orlando.
Yeah, he's playing well. He's shooting well.
Competing, like really competing. And I mentioned this, I think, even last week, or maybe I just told Henry, that to transition, you can see these guys are fresh. So how do you know that? It's not just dunks. Look at the transition defense. Guys are flying back that in ways that they don't always do late in the last, basically this would be the last week of the season if it was a regular time. They're flying back as if everything matters, because in this bubble, everything does. Like, with the exception of the best team, who have number one seeds locked up, and that's why they're not playing so well, it matters. And so guys are flying. So that's nice to see too. But
that was a good point, Coach. The Kuzma on defense, particularly, right? Like, that was always like just his competitiveness, and when he's like really up into a guy, if the guy scores, like, he's mad, which is like awesome to see from him, being like, oh, like he actually cares on this end, which they're doing that. It's good.
When LeBron and Davis are caring, it's hard not to care. Danny Green cares too, of course, but he's not LeBron or Davis. Those guys care for sure. I thought LeBron also, like, you guys know this, you've watched a million games. When guys go to the bench, they tend to sometimes take off, they relax their competitive juices. Mm-hmm. LeBron sat the whole game yesterday, and I thought he was into it.
Yeah.
He knows the cameras are on him, but that hasn't stopped him from relaxing. I thought he was doing the best he can to breathe some leadership into guys. They're short without him. They don't have it.
Yeah.
But with him, we'll see. I still think they're great with him.
They may get Rondo back, like, to help with some.
It'll give them some depth. They'll have a little bit of depth, but they're not good right now without him.
Someone for Chris Paul to poke in the eyes.
And Henry, I think I have to just give the Blazers all the kudos now. It's over. Like, they're
all Portland all the time now with Henry. All Portland.
They're a half game out of 8, and obviously with Triple J tearing his meniscus for Memphis, that's like crippling for them, because now you literally only have Morant, right? I mean, Brandon Clark's good and Dylan Brooks is good, but like, those guys are so young, and as Coach always says, they don't know how to play basketball yet, right? So it's going to be hard for them.
Henry, just to be fair, I want to talk with Portland with Henry. So Henry calls me frequently, and we used to talk about lovely things like our wives and children and the world. And now it's all Portland all the time. And as his loving friend, I'm very happy for Henry that he has this moment where not only right now are they fun to watch, and let's face it, the team they beat last night wasn't trying to win the whole game, but they look great. Like, if you were betting on futures, Portland would be amongst the teams you'd be most excited about. There's a lot of context and nuance to what they can do. It's not just some ballers in the backcourt anymore. And if you're Terry Stotts, it's like Christmas every day right now with what they can do going forward.
And I'll tell you this, Henry, if you're the Lakers, they're not thrilled about having to play Portland in round 1.
No, we knew that. 2 weeks ago we said this.
They're like, this sucks. Like, they don't want it.
That honestly, I mean, that terrible day when the first game after Kobe died was the Blazers in LA. Mm-hmm. But it's not a great matchup for the Lakers. I'm a Blazers fan. Discount everything I'm saying here, but the fact is, like, they have a little trouble with the Blazers killed them in that game. Judy, can I show this little video? There's just this moment that struck me as if we just watch it for like 4 seconds. Can you stop it there? Okay, perfect. Okay, so I've been watching the Damien Lillard and CJ McCollum. So that's CJ with the ball. Damien's in the corner. and that's Carmelo on the far side too. They are obviously, CJ and Dame have had this incredible career, but they've tried 5 guys who I can't remember their all names. Mo Harkless, going back to Nick Batum days, they've had a bunch of people who you hoped would create space for CJ and Dame, right? Well, now Gary Trent Jr. is shooting, it's like 22 for 37, I think, from 3 in the bubble, something like that. That's Gary Trent Jr. is the closest player here. If you're look at the Nuggets defense, they're all on the CJ Dame side of the floor. They have to worry about Damien Lillard, who they'd like to double, CJ with the ball. Nurk is a giant man rolling to the rim. And if you play the rest of it now, Judy.
Spurs yesterday got to win. Gary Trent. It's just
going to keep happening. And I don't know what you do. Like there are 4 places on the court now that the defense has to focus, and you can't. Like you just can't. And they haven't really. This is new, right? There are a few games into rehearsing a world where they do have the 3rd, 4th super potent outside scorer. You can stop it now, Judy. Thanks. I feel like the offense could get way better than it has been already. And then the other thing is. Gambling is a big thing in the NBA now, which drives me crazy, whole other show. But if I were betting, and I'm not, I would bet on teams where you can apply the lessons of the Sebastian Younger book Tribe that I've talked about a bunch. There's a century or more of military research where some fighting units are just way better than others. And it boils down to, this book's amazing. It boils down to, do the soldiers love each other? You can take the same highly skilled soldiers and put them in different units and they'll just do terrible. If they love each other, they do measurable things that make them win more. There have been a lot of articles. Kevin Arnovitz wrote a great one about Damian Lillard as a teammate and what he does to people. And we're seeing so much. So as a gambler, I would bet on teams that love each other if you see evidence of it. I was very moved when Carmelo lost a ton of weight. Think about how hard that is to do. And during the quarantine, he's just losing weight for some reason, right? He's had the chance to be a really fit, skinnier dude his whole career, but he's doing it now, right? I think, the Blazers have been loving him up. Damien is the leader who's I laugh at you guys who think he's not a Hall of Famer. This is nothing incredible, right? Gary Trent Jr. did something so that you never miss threes during the pandemic. I don't know. Yusuf Nurkic is fitter than ever, right? Hassan Whiteside gave up his starting spot and has not complained. Maybe in private, but nothing, right?
Yeah, right.
CJ McCollum would be the pride of the league, the biggest free agent in the world this summer, but he signed up last year saying that he loved, use that word, Damian Lillard. I just feel and Terry Stotts was going to lose his job. It was touch and go. Lillard went to the ownership and was like, no, we're keeping this guy, right? I just feel I'm not sure how to quantify it, and I don't want to tell you that they're going to win the championship or anything, but I think that when you have these kinds of signs, or Zach Collins has been pretty terrible in the restart, and they keep giving him the ball. They're we're getting you back, Zach. We're going to fix your butterfingers, right? I think if you see this kind of stuff happening, there's a chance, a 10, 20, 30, 40% chance of just some special stuff blossoming.
You heard it here, folks. Blazers upsetting the Lakers in round 1 of the playoffs.
That's not what I said.
That's what Barkley predicted. Barkley predicted that. Charles Barkley said that 2 weeks ago.
Which
makes it much more.
But if you were to do a straight analysis of the talent, you would rate it at 4%, and I think you can make it double, triple, quadruple that because of some special stuff happening. Sorry, David, I cut you off.
No. What you're saying is right. The fact that Barkley sees it too makes it a little more dubious. He's not great at predicting.
Yeah.
It comes down to LeBron's groin, honestly. He's very healthy. I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
he's healthy. I don't think Portland, because what you have to remember is, Henry and I talked about this before we were on the show. Dame is always going to get the first domino to drop, right? But Danny Green, LeBron James, Anthony Davis don't need help often.
Right.
Those 3 in particular. So there's going to be lots of possessions where, and of course, that's why he said ball screens. But in that particular play, I forget number 6 for Denver. He's the one who screwed up. Plumlee was fine on CJ up top. He might have scored on him, but the Lakers won't have to help a ton, which is why they were top 2, I think number 2 in defense this year, right? However, LeBron not being 100% means he's getting scorched on defense. Or if he has to give everything he can on defense, it's going to take away from his offense. And then I absolutely think Portland can win. But the games aren't going to be 20-point blowouts now. Like, the Lakers are going to have to hit big shots all the time, and Trent has never made a big shot in the playoffs. There is a difference. Of course, it's interesting. There's going to be some cool data from these games with no home court advantage.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it affects people. I read somewhere yesterday the comment about players say it's kind of strange with no fans. The guys that I've talked to just don't even pay attention to that. They haven't noticed the fans all that much. The atmosphere is good, and the benches have been amazing. I'm enjoying watching that as much as anything. They are the only ones rooting for themselves, which they're used to on the road. But there's a defiance then because you're defying to 20,000 screaming fans. But then these guys are all, except for LeBron and a few others, they were playing AAU yesterday. That's AAU. There's no fans watching most of these AAU games. They're used to just rooting for each other. There's 11 other games going on in these big field houses. No one's watching your game except for your mom and dad and uncle and each other at best. So I've enjoyed that part, but it'll be a little less pressure, I think, when they're not dealing with those fans. But maybe they'll feel more because they don't let their teammates down, which goes to Henry's point about love. It's a super important point, obviously. We talk about it all the time. They're just not going to feel – they don't want to let their teammates down anyway, but they won't feel like someone's staring you down the way JR did when LeBron when he didn't take that shot. That's why Portland, I think, not just now, but going forward, I mean, they've got something.
Well, and Utah's the team that doesn't quite have the love right now, right?
Right.
And you can see, it's in your story. I'm stealing your point from your story, but some selfishness, right? That's
And how about this? It's being reported now. I think Zach Lowe reported today. He was the second one to write that there's rumors that Nate McMillan's going to get fired. I have a totally different opinion on whether or not Nate should be fired, but I'm asking this, knowing what Henry said about Stotts, the Pacers could do the same thing.
Yeah.
And say, hey, look, we're top 5 given all the injuries we've had and our weird kind of lineup with 2 centers basically playing at the same time. They could get his back and maybe keep his job. And what would that do for that team going forward? Who with TJ Warren and Malcolm Brogdon healthy would be pretty damn good. Like, they're a good team. And Oladipo getting back next year at full speed. There's an opportunity there for them to stand up for him.
That's a great team. And I think, honestly, Coach, when you could say what you want here, I think Nate's gotten better as a coach. I think he's.
I totally agree. He was awful in Portland.
Yeah, he's gotten better. He embraces the 3 ball now. I think he gets it. To your point, it would be helpful if someone who had clout can go to, is it Herb Simon, I guess, the owner, and be like, hey, we want to keep Coach McMillan here.
Yeah. They've overachieved.
Once you have the salvation moment, right? You are bonded in a way where you were in a foxhole together and someone saved you, and that's you never forget that, right? That's a reason to run through walls for someone, for sure. I
mean, he's helped TJ and Sabonis reach a level that I don't think people ever predicted necessarily. Yeah. We saw talent Sabonis, and he achieved it, right? Overachieving. I said this to Masai when I said I wasn't impressed when you traded for Kawhi. Hell, I talked about that on Haberstro's show, a month before it happened. I wasn't impressed that you fired Dwayne Casey, my friend, for Nick Nurse because he had not taken that last step. The impressive thing is the decision to be made. Am I happy overachieving or achieving a lot, or am I only happy if I want to win it all? That takes some courage. Nate McMillan's achieving great. Indiana really, to ask for more than that, I think you're risking a lot because who are you going to bring in that's going to take you to the top 2 with that roster? I don't know. Right. I don't know if there's anyone that can take you. If you can overachieve every year and give your fans that, I think you've done a hell of a job as a business. So I think Nate should stay because as a business, we keep beating expectations. Yeah. Our people are happy. We're fun to watch. It's not like they're bad to watch at all.
Yeah, they're really fun.
Ended some years. This year, they're better on offense. And they're growing as a team. They're still young. Yeah, I'd like them to stay.
Yay, much better. Speaking about your love, though, Henry, what that has me thinking about is the Raptors. How does that I mean, I feel like, and I know it's like so cliche, everyone's like overlooking them, but like we are overlooking them. Those guys love Kyle Lowry. Like Pascal is making that leap. Like they got Gasol, they love Van Vliet. That team, and they love Nick Nurse. Like that team seems to just enjoy each other and playing ball. And Nurse is like not willing. He's like, look, let's do this. He doesn't care. Like he's not addicted to his like own ego. Like, no, we must play this way. Oh, that guy's really good. Box him on his ass so he doesn't get the ball. And he'll do whatever to win. And I think Toronto, you can't tell those guys they're not champs. Yeah, we don't have Kawhi, but we won a championship last year. And that's going to matter in certain games. Like I love what Toronto's doing and how they all seem to be playing off of one another.
I don't know Kyle Lowry, but I want him to be my best friend. I see every signal from him of just like, oh, that is a leader. And I want someone to tell the real, like, behind the scenes, like what it's like to play with Kyle Lowry story. Cause I got one. I happened to be standing right there when he had the whole thing with the Warriors.
Henry, finish what you were saying. I'm sorry.
I mean, I was standing there when that thing happened with Mark Stevens, the Warriors, minority. And I just saw like the like high adrenaline, physical, angry moment, right? I felt it, like I was just like, oh my God, like I don't know what's gonna happen here. And then the next 48 hours, he just was so perfect. He never discounted his own experience of it, but he also just out-thought and outplayed and I thought his talk the next day was masterful. About like, yes, we absolutely have to deal with this, and I got a certain particular feeling about that guy. And I'm going to explain it to you now. And, but he didn't let it, like they won a championship, and anyway, I thought that was just like, this guy is the best. And I totally 100% I'm willing to believe that Lillard and Lowry are similar leaders. And they're different in certain ways that are obvious, but yeah, I get the same exact vibe. Totally would love to see Toronto more everybody down. Only little hang up is like, oh, the Bucks will be so sad. Last year, oh my God.
I gave them an 11% chance to win when we were on our article last week. Maybe I was a little low. I wouldn't do it much higher. They're all the Milwaukee Bucks on that side, and they have Giannis, and they're very, very good. But my quick Kyle Lowry story, I'm sure I told this to Henry many years ago. Kevin Martin got traded to the Rockets, but people don't remember that they were playing Aaron Brooks and Kyle Lowry as a backcourt because they were just struggling. And Lowry is getting buckets, getting points, right? So I'm not. This wasn't the Harden trade. This was the Rockets trade with Carl Landry. They traded out to go to Sacramento. So I told Kevin Lowry is going to be really pissed because he had Mike Conley deal with in Memphis. Like he's finally doing his thing, and now you're going to come in as the leading scorer. And I was right. And Kevin's a very low-key guy. Henry's met him. And he's like, yeah, that dude hates me. He's like, what do? I said, nothing. Just be yourself. Trust me. Just be yourself and let him realize he's a very, very cerebral guy. I have been told that from Villanova people. So Kevin called me one day. He's like, Coach, you're right. I said, what happened? He said, Kyle just pushed it so fast in transition. So you know me, I'm not going to try to race ahead of him when the defense is already set. I'm just going to trail the play. And he keeps finding me, and I'm making these shots. And so one day, Kyle said, out of nowhere, he's like, Kevin, he's like, so I just have to look for you trailing. And if I don't have a lane to drive, I just throw it to you and you make a three and I get an assist. But you never complain if I drive and shoot. He's like, yeah. He's like, that's great. So I talked to Kyle about this at Kevin's wedding. They became best friends. So I said to him, right here in Clearwater Beach, I told him that story and he laughed. He's like, Coach, I'm not an idiot. He's like, the guy's a walking assist for me. And if the defense is overreacting to our 25-point per game score on 13 shots a game, I have a lane to the basket. Fantastic. So that tells you a lot about Kyle Lowry. And he just won't stop, right? He's relentless. Your point is right, Jarod. There is a culture going on there that is very obvious. And then we talk about Indiana developing their players and Portland. Toronto right now is, I think, the new Spurs, right? Although what OKC's done with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander he's an all-star right now. He's a future all-star for sure. But Toronto's got a bunch of them. I did Doug Gottlieb's show yesterday, and he talked about the Raptors not having Kawhi with all the big shots. I said, Lowry and Van Vliet made a ton of big shots last year for them. And don't forget Siakam giving Draymond Green the business. Like, no, those guys have reference points as champions. And a little bit of, like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
A lot of that, right?
Yeah. I think so. All year it's been that. All year it's been that. So the Bucks, they know this. The Bucks have their hands full. Nobody can guard Giannis, but Siakam can at least give it some effort. They will funk things up, as Jarod's point is about Nick Nurse. I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what they'll do. It's not like the Bucks don't have good players, but they'll do something. They're not going to be afraid to try something because, listen, they have no pressure. Last year they had some pressure. It's the opposite. They had none. They've got that huge asterisk off their back about choking in the first round. They're freaking champs, and they're a dangerous team. I think going 6 or 7 games.
The pressure is going to be on Milwaukee.
Oh, Milwaukee!
They got to win, so they might tighten up when it matters. And Toronto might be like, "We're good."
It's going to have to be the Villanova kid, Brooke Lopez, Middleton, Wes Matthews, who he had one game where he made 3 threes and 0 across the board. 0 across the board. They need more than that from him. And they're going to have to make really clutch shots because Toronto is going to camp out in the paint. I think my son told me yesterday, Giannis had a sick stat line last night where he might have missed just 1 shot from the field or no shots and then went 0-4 from 3. I'm super proud he took 4 threes, though. Super proud that he did. He needs to keep doing that. Be nice to someone in from Milwaukee for sure. But, the Toronto is going to be hellish. Hellish.
All right, so everyone tune in with these 2 gentlemen and Adena and others next week. I won't be here. It's going to be great. Up on the beach. And talking about the Blazers probably.
To anyone that'll listen.
These guys will share some brilliance, and we'll share more on the Twitter. We'll put some notes in today, and you can find out when and where to be. And
Tuesday, Wednesday night. Wednesday, 6
games with Coach Thorpe. What's better than that? He's going to be breaking down everything for you, telling you basketball.
And the most important thing of all, of course, is tomorrow is Dina's birthday. So everybody wish Adena happy birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday,
Dina.
Happy birthday, Adena.
All right, love you. And we'll miss you, Henry and Judy. Be safe, guys.
Have a good vacation, guys.